Hey everyone, it's Casey, and today we're going to go through a Vinyasa flow class. And the emphasis is going to be on balance and stabilizing. But we're also going to get a lot into the inner hips, the groin. We're going to get into the hamstrings, and we're also going to get into the outer hips and some twists. So a little bit of everything. But we're going to be feeling really, really good in the stability and overall foundation of our bodies at this practice. So I have 2 blocks and a strap suggested for today's practice. A strap could come in really handy. The blocks are a little bit more optional, but we'll see when we get there. Okay, let's start off on our backs. We'll come into a reclined position, and I'll offer you to take the soles of the feet together and just let the knees open up wide. Have your strap nearby, just in case. And as your knees open out to the sides, you can go ahead and play with the placement of your heels. Maybe slide them a little bit closer towards the groin. Maybe push them a little farther out in front of you, and just see where they settle in a place that feels a little more cozy and comfortable within your body. Start to take note of how you feel today, anything you brought with you to your mat that's still lingering or cluttering the mind. And we'll just take a couple breaths to help soothe us into a more still and centered space while letting go of some of that clutter and exterior distraction. So release your breath. Let's start at the bottom. Take a slow breath in through the nose, filling all the way up from the bottom to the top. Expand around in all directions. Once the breath lifts high, go ahead and hold it here for a moment. Just retain the breath. And open up the mouth. Exhale, let everything out. Again, slow inhale. Fill up through the bottom, around the sides, all the way up the front, the back, to the top. Holding it here, retain, full stretch of the lungs. And then just open up the mouth and let everything go. And let your breath relax back a little bit here. Just breathing in and out of your nose now. And through this more relaxed breath, just slightly constrict the airway. Let your breath be more audible in its sound. Let it have more vibration. Use this breath through the entirety of this practice. Let it help to thread all of the postures together, this solid foundation of the breath. Ujjayi breathing. Let's go ahead and give little wiggles into the fingers and into the toes. Rock your head a little side to side. And then as the head comes to center, you're going to slowly, if you can, keep your left leg where it is. If you need to stretch your legs out at any point, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to slowly lift the right knee and just start to hug the right knee in towards the chest. And just kind of feel that extra stretch into the inner hip, into the groin. You can even take little circles with your right knee, kind of pulling it in, rolling it out. Feel into that space. And then as you bring it back in towards your chest, hold the knee with your left hand, right arm falls to the side. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, twist. Pull the knee across your body, over to the left and down towards the ground, while keeping your right shoulder planted on the floor. Maybe your head rotates all the way over to that right side. And just give yourself a couple more breaths here to feel the expansion of the breath on the inhale. And that gentle release into the depth on the exhale. One more here. Now let your head roll back to center. Lift the knee back to center. And as you hug in, stay here. Maybe pull it towards your armpit. Maybe take your right arm into half happy baby by reaching through the inside of the leg and holding on to the foot. Anywhere along the leg is fine as well. Sole of the foot faces up towards the ceiling, and just gently bend the knee down towards the ground. Just let gravity do the work here. Another breath. Any variation, even if you're just still pulling the knee to the chest, this is perfectly fine. All right. If you're holding onto the foot, let's go ahead and bend the knee. Wherever you are, release, hug the knee back to the chest. Now, your left leg still out to the side. Slowly pivot, lift the knee back to center, and then extend the leg out. Feel free to shake it out a little bit if needed. And then extend firmly out through the heel, toes pull back. Okay, let's reach over for our straps. These are optional right now. You can take a strap around your foot, or if you're feeling fairly flexible, you can take your peace fingers and thumb of your right hand and grab a hold of your big toe on the right leg. And then extend your right leg towards the ceiling. Okay, so you can do it by holding onto the toe or strap around the ball of the foot and extend up while holding onto the strap ends and keeping your shoulder blades down on the floor. So try not to hold so high up that your shoulders are peeled and curled up, okay? We want to soften them down, hold farther down on the strap, or you're holding onto the big toe, but the shoulders are still softened. Okay, so you're gonna work on extending up through the heel as best as you can, activate into your quads, and then pulling the leg in as much as possible. If the knee is bent, just work on the extension. If this puts on any strain on your lower back at any point, just bend your left knee, foot flat on the floor, and see if that helps to alleviate. If not, bend a little bit more through your top leg, okay? Go ahead and just give one more breath here. And then keep pulling the leg in towards your upper body and extending out through the heel as you slowly open the leg out to the right side. You're just holding on to your foot or the strap with your right hand, okay? Left hand can help to keep your left hip anchored down. Okay, so I'm pressing my left hip down towards the floor to avoid it curling off the ground when I take my leg out to the side. Just another breath or two here, getting that nice opening through inner hip and the groin. Now, slowly lift the leg back up to center. Okay, now from here, we're going to go ahead and switch hands. So either left hand can hold onto your strap ends, or you're going to try to hold the outer edge of your foot. Kick out through the heel, pull the leg in a little bit closer, and just take your leg a few inches over to the left side. Sometimes you can only move it about an inch while reaching out through the heel and pulling the leg in before your body tells you to stop. So listen into those sensations, feel those physical cues. One more breath. Then lift the leg back to center, bend the knee, release the foot, go ahead and shake your legs out. This has got to be one of my favorite stretch combinations. Leaves your legs and hips feeling so good. Okay, let's do the other side. Draw soles of the feet together. Knees open up. So starting in that butterfly shape, okay? This time we're going to keep the right leg here if we can. If you need to extend it out, please do. Otherwise, left knee lifts up, draw it towards the chest, and use your hands to cup the knee and pull it in a little bit closer here, okay? As you pull it in, you can keep it still, or you can take kind of circular motions. If your hips are feeling kind of tight and a little bit of dynamic movement is helping to lubricate your joints, then please do what feels more accommodating for your body in this moment. Let it feel good. Okay. Now, as you bring it back to center, holding onto the knee with your right hand, left arm falls out to the side. Let's take a deep breath in here. And exhale, twist. Pull the knee over to the right and down. Head can roll over to the left. Left shoulder stays grounded on the floor. Nice. If you're holding it here, make sure that your shoulder's not peeling off. So if it is, you can always back out of the twist a little bit until you feel that grounding point back down and then work within that realm, okay? Oftentimes we force that knee all the way over and then the shoulders peeled away from the ground. Try to find that anchor point and then work gently in that space. Last breath here. Head back to center, lift your knee back up to center. Okay, now from here, as you pull the knee to chest, maybe you slightly open it towards your left armpit to pull it in. Maybe you work in towards that half happy baby on the left side. Left hand reaches for inner foot, ankle, shin, or thigh, whatever's available. Sole of the foot faces up and the knee bends towards the ground. And just feeling all of that opening through the front of the hips, the inner groin. And then go ahead and rebend that left knee. Bring the knee back to the chest. Now from here, you can pivot on your right foot, plant the foot down to the ground, and extend it out. Feel free to shake it out if you need to. And then once you're good, reach through the heel, toes pull back, right leg is nice and active. Grab your strap if you're going to use it, taking it around the ball of your left foot, holding on with your hands, or left peace fingers and thumb catch the big toe and extend the leg up towards the ceiling as much as possible. And then from here, work your extension through both of your legs. Pull the toes back. If it's too much to have your right leg extended, just bend the knee, foot flat on the ground. Okay. With that top leg extending out, pulling it in as much as it feels good. Try to soften your shoulder blades, not curling, forcing, or tensing. Bring the breath into the back of the leg. Let's give ourselves one more breath here. Okay, strap into your left hand, right hand onto your right hip. You're going to slowly open your leg out to the side while continuously pulling it towards your torso. So you're staying in that real deep range of motion. Make sure your right hip does not start to curl away from the ground. If it does, peel it back down, ground into it. Nice and active through this left leg. You're reaching out through the heel, feeling the inner thigh rolling open. One more breath. And then lift the leg all the way back up to center. We're going to switch hands. Right hand grabs the strap or the outside of that foot. Left hand can rest wherever it's comfortable. Extend through that top heel, pull the leg in, and then just take it anywhere from 1 to 3 inches over to the right side. Keep kicking through the heel and pulling it in, and guaranteed you will feel it. Last breath here. Leg comes back to center, bend the knee, release the foot. Go ahead and shake your legs out. All right, when you're ready, hug the knees into your chest, sway side to side. And then you're going to grab the backs of your thighs, start to rock forward and back a few times. And on your third one, I'll give you an option, a challenge, to sit up and hover your feet. Hold the thighs, hover the feet, chest up, shoulders relaxed. If the feet need to touch down, it's okay. Just work here. Okay, otherwise, feet up. Pull the thighs in. Navel hugs up and in. Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Pelvic floor lifts. Maybe arms extend out. Option to extend the legs. Nice. Give yourself a few more deep breaths. Keep lifting the chest, lifting the legs. For 3, 2, 1. And then slowly come into tabletop. You can cross your legs, come over the knees, or you can sweep your legs around off to a side. Stacking your joints here, shoulders over wrists, hips over the knees. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, cat pose. Chin to your chest, tail tucks, round your back. Inhale, drop your belly. Scoop your heart forward and up. Lift up through your sit bones. Full extension in the spine. Exhale, rounding, curling back in, chin to chest, tail tucks, lift the navel. Inhale, open up. Go ahead and give yourself just a few more. Moving at your own pace. We're going to start to warm up here even more in a second. All right, let's come back to a neutral spine. Tuck the toes. Let's find our first downward facing dog of this practice and spend about 3 to 5 breaths just easing into your downward dogs, pedaling out your legs, feeling that nice spaciousness in your hamstrings and hips and lower back. Opening through the shoulders, the neck. All right. Inhale, come up onto your toes, looking forward. Exhale, empty out your breath, and then make your way to the top of the mat, however you please. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Really draw the heart forward in front. And exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, come up to standing, flat back, all the way up. Arms reach, open up the chest at the top. And then join your hands down, heart center. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold, melting all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift position. Exhale, plant the hands to the mat, step back into plank. Let's hold here for just an extra breath. We're going to start to shift the weight forward, option to drop the knees. Exhale, lower all the way down to the ground with control, belly, ribs, and chest touch at the same time. Untuck your toes, 3 rounds of cobra. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, maybe come up a little higher. Listen to your body. Keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, lifting up. And then exhale, pull back, tabletop position. Maybe take a quick child's pose. And then meet in downward facing dog when you're ready. Couple breaths here. If you want to continue to move, you continue to move. Otherwise, just holding in some stillness, presence, and all the sensations you feel. Take another deep breath in. Deep breath out. Looking forward, step or hop top of the mat. Right into your halfway lift, breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to standing, coming up tall, arms sweep over your head, open up the chest. And exhale, forward fold, drape all the way back down. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen here. Exhale, take your vinyasa, go through the motion, step or hop back from high plank to chaturanga, lower down. Your inhale will lift up through the chest, cobra or upward facing dog, and exhale into downward dog where we'll complete that vinyasa sequence. Nice. Let's inhale, right leg up towards the ceiling. Open up the hip, bend into the knee. Inhale, straighten the legs, square the hips. Exhale, take a big step forward, all the way to the front. Now, as you set up the feet here about hips width apart, railroad tracks on the mat, left fingertips set down to the ground or to a block. Open up ribs and chest. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Nice deep breath here. Find a focal point on the ground. As you do, slowly feel a pressing into the legs. See if you can hover your left fingertips. And then come all the way up into a nice open arm twist, crescent lunge position. Take one more breath here, lengthening and rotating. Now inhale, reach up into crescent lunge. Let's sink in a little bit deeper here. Another full breath. Then from here, lean forward, chair pose. Sink the hips. One more deep breath in. And exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breath in. And exhale, take your vinyasa, plant the palms, flow your way back and through all the way to downward dog, or skip it and just come straight back to downward dog, or take rest in child's pose anytime you want. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, open up the hip, bend into the knee. Inhale, straighten the legs, square through the hips. And exhale, big step forward, all the way to the front. Set up the feet here, hips width, railroad tracks. Right hand plants down. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Really press into the ground. Continue to breathe. Find a focal point on the floor. Come up onto the bottom fingertips. Strong core, strong legs. See if you can hover the fingertips. And then come all the way up into a nice open arm twist crescent lunge. Couple breaths. Not pulling on the arms, just allowing the rotation to happen through the torso. Inhale, crescent lunge, sweep it back around, sink in a little bit deeper. Take just a couple breaths here. One more deep breath in. And exhale, chair pose, lean forward and step forward, sit. Nice, strong, active legs, sink weight into the heels, sit back, tail reaches down or engages. One more breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breath in. Exhale, take your vinyasa or just go straight to downward dog or child's pose. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Hold on your exhale. See if you can come up onto the bottom fingertips. Inhale, come up all the way up into that twist. Sink a little deeper on your exhale. Inhale, crescent lunge. This time, exhale, hands to your heart center. Lean forward. Now, as you come up onto the back toes, push through the front leg to lift the back leg. Concentrate on a focal point, warrior three. If you'd like to take your hands down to blocks or to the floor, you can. Otherwise, holding here. One more breath. Bend into your standing legs. Slow step back with your left toes. Arms reach up, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Open up the back foot, open up the arms, sink into that shape. Open up the front thigh. Give yourself a few breaths here. Really sink into the hips, level the hips out. Stretch the arms forward and back, gazing over the front hand. One more breath. Then begin to reach forward with the right arm. Right arm drops down to that right leg, or you can lower your hand down to a block or to the floor. Extended side angle, left arm reaches up. Extra challenge, you can work on floating the bottom hand. One more breath. Looking down at the floor for balance. Inhale, reverse warrior, reaching up and back. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the ground. Step back and flow through your vinyasa. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, big step all the way to the front. Inhale, left arm reaches high. Hold on the exhale, come up onto the bottom fingertips. Inhale, come all the way up. Twisted crescent, hold, exhale, twist deeper. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Start to lean forward. Come up onto the back toes, push into the front leg. Lift the back leg high. Warrior three, square your hips. Squeeze your inner thighs. Reach to the back foot. Draw forward through the crown. One more breath. Bend into your standing legs. Slowly step back with the right toes all the way back. Crescent lunge, arms reach up. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Set your back foot. Open up the hips, open up the arms. Find your alignment here, holding for a few breaths. Sink the hips down as they level out. Roll the front thigh open. Gazing over the front hand. One more breath here. And then begin to reach forward. Exhale, lower the left arm down to your variation. Right hand high, shoulders are nice and stacked as you open up the ribs and chest towards the ceiling. Focal point can be up towards the top hand or anywhere that's more comfortable. Keep sinking into the hips, opening up the thigh. Looking down, focal point. Inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching all the way up and back. Top hand reaches. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back. Take your flow. Nice. Let's take a deep breath in. Open the mouth, deep breath out. Now, go ahead and drop your knees for a moment. You can either take a quick child's pose or option to have blocks somewhere near the front of your mat. I would suggest you take them to either side of the mat, but I'm going to have them off to the side. That way you guys can see me a little bit more clearly, but have it more accessible for you. We will start playing with some half moon shapes. So just know if you need a little bit of extra lift of the ground to meet you, the blocks can be a nice addition. Downward dog when you're ready. Inhale, right leg reaches up. Exhale, big step forward. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale, come high up onto the bottom fingertips, hold. Inhale, come all the way up into your twisted crescent lunge. Sink deeper on the exhale. Inhale, come up, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to heart, lean forward, warrior three. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knee, big step back. Inhale, arms reach up, crescent. Exhale, warrior two, open up the hips, open up the arms. Inhale, reaching forward, right arm drops down, left arm reaches high, extended side angle. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching all the way up and back. Now exhale, right hand is going to come all the way down to the floor. Maybe grab a block underneath the right hand. Let's all start here. Left hand to the hip, walk the back foot in a little bit. Keep the hips open. Right hand walks forward until you can press off the back foot. Get the hand underneath your right shoulder. Right toes point forward. The lifted leg, we're reaching through the heel, parallel with the ground and trying to stack through the hips and stack through the shoulders. Maybe left arm reaches up. Half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. If you want an extra challenge, you can get rid of the block, or you can work on hovering the bottom hand, floating it. Slowly lower both hands to the ground. Square your hips, step or hop back, take your vinyasa. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, left arm reaches up. Hold on the exhale, come up onto the bottom fingertips. Inhale, come up into your revolved crescent. Hold, exhale. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center, come forward, warrior three. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend your standing leg. Big step back, right toes. Arms reach up, inhale, crescent. Exhale, warrior two, open up. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, extended side angle. Holding one breath in, one breath out. Inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching up and back. Exhale, left hand comes down. Right hand to your hip. Grab a block with your left hand. Bring it forward. Walk your back foot in a little bit, but keep your hips open. Lift the back leg up. Maybe walk the bottom hand forward. Hand underneath the shoulder. Left toes forward. Lifted leg. Reach through the heel. Toes point to the side. Maybe right arm reaches up. Stack the shoulders. Stack the hips. Try to staple that bottom foot down. Core is engaged. Focal point can be down to the side or up for an extra challenge. Slowly lower your hands. Square your hips. Step or hop back. Take your vinyasa. Let's take a quick child's pose. Drop the knees, sink the hips, and breathe. Feel free to sigh out through the mouth. You got some trapped heat in there, let it out. All right, so this last flow that we're going to go through is going to be like a mini flow, still working off of what we've been doing, but we're going to condense it a little bit and we're going to add on that revolved half moon, okay? So we're going to mix it. It'll be fun. Maybe have your blocks handy and we'll get a nice little burn on this next one. If you're like, nah, I'm good. I think I'm good for now. Just rest this one out. Child's pose is great. Otherwise, downward facing dog when you're ready. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, take a big step all the way to the front. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Hold on the exhale. Come up onto the bottom fingertips. Inhale, come all the way up. Coming into that revolved crescent, twist a little deeper. Now, inhale up, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center, lean forward, come off the back toes, warrior three. Now, from here, we're going to lower the right hand down, right below the shoulder. Bring it to a blocker to the floor, left hand to your hip. Open up the hip to stack on top of the right. Feel the difference of how we get into it. Stack the shoulders. Maybe left arm reaches up. If you want that extra challenge, float the bottom hand. A block is just fine underneath the bottom hand. Then we're going to switch it. Left hand comes down. Now before we switch, square your hips. Drop the left hip down. Toes should be pointing towards the floor now. Now left hand can plant to a blocker to the floor below the left shoulder. Right hand to your right hip. From here, long spine, inhale. Exhale, twist, ribs and chest open to that right side. Holding, breathing, twisting. Maybe right arm floats up. Focal point of choice, standing leg is straight and strong. Reach to that back leg, try to keep it parallel with the ground. One more breath. Slowly lower the right hand down, step or hop back, take your vinyasa. All right, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, hold, come up onto the bottom fingertips. Inhale, revolved crescent lunge. Twist deeper, exhale. Inhale, crescent, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Lean forward, lift the back leg, warrior three. Left fingertips drop down below left arm. Right hand to your hip. You can also take a block underneath the bottom hand. Slowly start to open up the hips, open up the ribs, open up the chest, stack the shoulders. Maybe right arm floats up. Extra challenge, you can float the bottom fingertips. Last breath. Right hand comes down. Square the hips. Squeeze them in. Right hand plants to a block or to the ground below the shoulder. Left hand to your hip. Long spine, straight leg. Exhale, twist, ribs and chest open to the left side. Keep breathing, keep twisting, keep engaging. Maybe your left arm reaches up. Last breath here. Left hand lowers, step or hop back, take your final vinyasa. And then a nice, relaxing child's pose. As you sink in, feel free to open up your mouth and sigh it out. Let go of some of that excess heat. Cooling your insides. Circulate your breath. We're going to be resting for the next minute or so. If you would like to use this time to practice an arm balance or an inversion, something you're working on in your practice, feel free to do it now. while the core is still nice and warm, the body is nice and warm. But if what your body is craving right now is rest, then honor that. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. So tune into that. What should you do right now? Only you know. And it's driven by genuine sensation and feeling and understanding of self versus an ego. I'm going to be here about 30 more seconds. Down onto our backs. So the props I said in the beginning, I have shifted a little bit, using them a little differently than I had anticipated. So hopefully you had everything you need available. Let's go ahead and walk the feet in, lift the hips, and take that block, whatever height you want, and bring it underneath your sacrum, that flat little bench on the back of your hips. So if you're not sure, it's not your glutes, not the fleshy cushion. And it's also not that curve of your lower back, okay? It should feel, I call it a shelf because it feels like a flat, shelfy, very flat surface. A little bench, a shelf, a nice spot that feels like a grounding point to release into. So we're just going to soften our lower back, let it just trickle down from the hips, grounding our energy down, bringing some of that energy closer towards where we're going, which is that final rest. We're going to be here just a few more breaths. And I'm going to add on some variation. So make sure your block is on one of the lower two settings, so it's a little closer to the ground, so you're not worried about stability here. And if you need to hold on to your block to stabilize, you can do that or adjust it. You're going to lift both feet off the ground until you kind of feel like your whole body weight is just resting on the block. And then we're going to pull the right knee to the chest, and you're going to hold the right knee right where it is. Slowly begin to stretch your left leg forward and reach out through the toes as though you're trying to stretch the toes beyond the tip of your mat. Continue to pull your right knee to your chest. And then as you reach your left toes forward, start to bow into the front of the hip all the way down to the toes as the foot rests heavy down to the ground. It's okay to have a little bow or bend into the knee. Continuously pulling your right knee into your chest as your left heel falls heavy into the ground, and just feeling that nice elongation over the front of your left hip. We'll use this as our hip flexor release since we did so much stabilizing and activating into them today. Let's go ahead and give ourselves about 4 more slow breaths. And then gently release. Let both feet touch down to the ground. Bend the knees. Walk the feet in and just take a moment to feel maybe a little shifting of your knees side to side. And then let's lift the feet off the ground. This time, you're going to hug your left knee into your chest. Hug it in nice and close. Hold it there. Start to stretch your right leg forward, reaching forward through your right toes. Really create as much length as you can away from the hip line. Keep pulling your left knee to your chest. And then as you reach the right toes away, start to bow through the front of the hip all the way down to the foot as the foot falls towards the floor. And just feel that nice stretch and opening starting to fall over the front of your right hip. Soften your shoulders if you can. Soften your face if you can. Use only what you need here. About 4 more. Actually, let's take 5 more slow breaths. Last one here. And then slowly release both feet down to the ground. Walk both feet in. Take a moment to pause, maybe a little shifting hips and knees side to side. Okay, lift the hips, remove the block, set it out of your way, and just pause here for a moment. We're going to keep building off of a little bit of that hip extension and opening up our back bends a little bit more, okay? If you're like, hey, I don't want to do anything more active, then feel free to just take the block back underneath your hips or just rest here until we're done, okay? Hands down to your sides, reaching in the direction of your feet about hips width or so. And as you press into the feet, inhale, lift the hips away from the ground. Walk the shoulders underneath as best as you're able. You can keep your arms here. You can interlace your hands. You can even bend your elbows if you'd like that variation. And then as you press to the feet, really try to press up through the ribs and chest. Ground down through the base of your big toes, pressing into your elbows or your arms. Let's take one more breath. And then slowly come all the way back down. Give yourself a pause when you release. Maybe sway the knees. Avoid hugging the knees in right away. We want to kind of continue to play off of this spinal extension. Okay. Knees back to center, feet walk in, arms down to the sides. As you ground in, inhale, lift the hips back up into your bridge. Same variations, maybe tuck the shoulders, interlace the hands, pressing in. Option to stay here. If you want to take wheels, stack the hands back by your ears. Maybe press onto the top of the head first, and then coming all the way up, press to the feet, open up the chest. One more breath. And then slowly come all the way back down. Once you're down, you can sway the knees side to side and relax. If you're in a supported bridge, make your way back down. Join us here. When you're ready, hug the knees back to the chest. Take a few more sways from side to side. Okay, we're going to take some nice relaxing twists, kind of opening up that lower back and getting a little kind of passive release into the hip opening. So soles of the feet come back down to the ground. Let's separate the feet about the width of the mat and take the arms out from the shoulders. Maybe a little cactus shape in the arms. And I'm going to kind of let my knees tip to the left to start. That way it has a better visual for you. Let your knees fall to the left side. And as they do, with them being separated, you're going to have a separation between your legs as though they're staggered. Okay, that's exactly what we're looking for. And by staggering, we're going to have an internal rotation through the top leg in the hip. And then we have an external rotation on the bottom leg in the hip. And we get this nice lift in our lower back on our right side, which can feel really nice. If you want to deepen it, feel free to slide your left foot on top of your right thigh and then just let it anchor in, and it will help to elongate that lower right side body as well down into the hip. Oh, it feels so good right now, especially after all of that hip work we did and that core stabilizing that we did, the rotations that we did. Feels so nice to just let go. So enjoy it here. Take about 5 more slow breaths. Okay. And I could be here all day. If your foot is on top, go ahead and gently bring it back down. Let the knees swivel back to center, and then you're going to drape them all the way over to the right side. Okay, still keeping them nice and staggered. And then same options here. Stay as you are, just feeling the gentle opening of the hips and lower back. Or if you want to aid it to go a little bit deeper, maybe slide your right foot on the top of that left thigh and just use it as a weight. That extra weight just helps to increase that internal rotation on the top hip, which is going to help. Once again, when we have the front of the hip rotating in, the back of the hip is rotating out. So that means we got a lot more space being created in that lower back. Feels so nice, relieving all of that tension and compression, tightness and stiffness that we feel. We don't do very much internal rotating in day-to-day life, nor do we do very much internal rotating in the yoga practice. So it's nice when we can kind of savor these moments of really tapping into that internal rotation and getting that nice space in the lower back, rather than always feeling more of the external rotation and more of that pinching and compression and tightness in the lower back. This gives us that nice opposite release. Let's take one more nice breath here. Slowly release the right foot down if it's lifted. Let's swivel the knees back to center. Now stretch the legs long out in front of you. Stretch the arms high over your head. Okay. Now, actually, let's do one last little movement. I'm going to have us come into a side body stretch and opener into banana pose. So just kind of shift your body weight so that you're on the right side of your mat. Okay, so you basically have the whole mat to your left side. You're just kind of as though you're sleeping on the edge of your bed. Okay. Now, with the arms over your head and with your legs down in front of you, you're just going to start to lift your shoulders and rock them over to the left side. So you're creating a little bit of a turnout through the shoulders and chest and upper back. And then with your arms, you can grab a hold of your right wrist and kind of pull the arm over. You can bend the elbow. You can hold on to your forearms or elbows, whatever feels best, but try to keep your right shoulder down on the ground if possible. And I like to really kind of pull it over and then relax it down so that I can feel a little bit of that tension and intensity, but without having to use too much muscular effort. So both of my shoulders are on the floor, and I'm going to keep both of my glutes on the ground. I'm going to step over with my left leg, and then I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left shin, and I'm just going to slide the foot down the length of the leg until I feel that stretch. If it's too much, take your left foot in a little closer and repeat the steps. If it's not quite enough, walk it out a little bit more, repeat the steps. You should feel kind of as though it like locks you into a nice elongation from your hip all the way down. You're going to feel a nice opening into the hip and then the side body all the way up into the shoulder. Let's take about 5 or so more slow breaths here. Enjoy. Okay, let's slowly release the upper body. Bring it back to that center on that right side, and then walk your legs back over. And then feel free to shake everything out here for a moment. And then we're going to shift our bodies over to the left side of the mat. Now, once we've shifted over, arms overhead, legs out in front of you, lifting the arms, shoulders, and head and rock them over to the right side. Shoulder blades down on the ground. You can grab a hold of your left wrist or anywhere along the arm. Maybe pull it over to the right a little bit and then let it fall heavy, relaxing down. Once you have that set up nicely, maybe walk your right foot out a little bit, play with the distance. Left ankle crosses over and then slide it down to cross ankles. until you feel that nice opening. Play with the distance. Make sure the glutes can still stay nice and heavily grounded. And just allow all the sensation to melt into your left side. Eyes sink back into the sockets. Slow everything down here. About 5 or so deep breaths. And when you're ready, let's release the upper body. Let it walk back over to that left side, back to center. And then walk the legs back over until you're all centered out. And then you can bring yourself back into the middle of the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. Curl your head up towards your knees. Squeeze in nice and tight. And then we're going to release into our Shavasana. You can take the legs out, take the arms out, let them splay and fall off the edges of your mat. If you want blocks underneath your knees, that's a nice little option. Maybe slightly tuck the shoulders just enough to open up the front of the chest. We still want to feel nice and relaxed. We're going to give a couple breaths to help us soften more deeply into this final relaxation. So let your breath empty. Slow, intentional breath in, filling up every space throughout your body, throughout your mind. Hold at the top. Open up the mouth and let it out. Last one, slow breath in, filling up. Take your time. Top of the breath, hold. And then open up the mouth and let it out. If you feel like you need anything else before we finally rest, take what you need, what you like, and then let yourself settle into a more comfortable, rested, surrendered space. Know that nothing is required of you. Nothing needs to be done. You can just let the mind clear out all the to-dos and just simply fall into a state of being. Melting into your surroundings, feeling that connection. And for the next few minutes, just allow that beingness to take over and surrender. Start to slowly deepen your breath. No rush. Let movements come into your fingers and toes. Let movement come into your wrists and ankles. Bend your elbows, your knees, and sway your head a little side to side. We'll do a full body stretch. Arms over your head, reach down through your feet and toes. Take a deep breath in. And then just open up your mouth and let everything out. Hug your knees into your chest. Sway left, sway right. And just roll over to either side as you come into a fetal position. Take note of your body, how you're feeling. You're going to roll your chest towards the ground. Top hand presses into the floor as you guide yourself all the way up into a seated position, nice and upright. Eyes closed, hands joined together at your heart center. Come to a place of intention, setting an intention to guide you from this moment forward. Thanking your bodies for all that they did for you throughout this practice. And thank you for allowing me to be your guide. Much love and much gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blink eyes open when you're ready. That was a fun one, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed. My hair is crazy. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments and any other future suggestions for classes. You know, I'm always open to hearing it out. So enjoy, and I'll be seeing y'all soon.